So you're looking to build a wine flight, have a wine tasting, or simply learn a little bit more about wine. Hi, I'm Indy with ABC Fine Wine and Spirits, and I'm going to teach you how to build a wine flight. I really enjoy a good glass of wine, experimenting with different varietals, and so do my friends. So once a week, we all get together, open up a couple bottles of wine, and sample them. We like to call these our wine flight nights, but really they're just any night of the week that we can all gather and enjoy a good glass of wine. So let's get to building a wine flight. I personally recommend choosing a theme when creating your wine flight. It makes it a lot easier to select the wines this way. If you're gonna do, for example, Chardonnays versus oak versus unoaked, you can do different types of rosés, you can do different types of varietals within a region. Really, the possibilities are endless. The whole point of the wine flight is to group these wines together and sample them in that one night. I personally chose Old World versus New World wines because I wanted to sample red wines and white wines at the same time. If you don't know the difference between Old World and New World wines, don't worry, we're gonna do a quick lesson. For Old World wines, think of European wines, so places like Italy, France, Spain, and Germany. New World wines come from places like the US, Argentina, Chile, and Australia, to name a few. Now that you selected your theme, choosing your wines is the next step. I like to stick to no more than 6 wines to avoid any waste with my friends. The reason I chose these 2 wines is because they have great representation of their style. This Chablis, for example, is the perfect representation of an Old World wine. It's light body, less alcohol, and more acidic, which is very traditional in Old World wines. It's also great because it's the lightest in style, which allows us to build our way up to our bolder red. This New World Chardonnay is also very true to its style. It has higher alcohol percentage, it's a little bit more robust in body, and it has that traditional oaky flavor that you'll find in New World Chardonnays. Now on to our reds. You'll find that these 2 are quite different. For example, the French Bordeaux is a little more fruit forward and it has a lot more minerality than our Cabernet Sauvignon. Our Cabernet Sauvignon happens to be a little bit bolder. Typically, they tend to have a lot more alcohol content in them, and it'll make them a lot more robust. Now that we've poured the wine, I have some tips for the person hosting the wine night. But before we get there, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, hit the notification bell above. Now on to the tips. I highly suggest labeling your wines or just simply placing them out where people can see what they're sampling. When you're pouring the wine, a sample size is more than enough. You don't want to fill up the glass because we are going to be sampling through quite a lot of wine, and well, they add up. As the host, I like to have a couple of questions in my back pocket to start the conversation during the wine tasting. Some of my questions are very simple, like where is this wine from? What vintage is this wine? What style is this wine? What type of flavors are you sampling? These types of questions will really get the conversation rolling. Another important thing, and I cannot state this enough, please provide water for your guests. This is one of the ways that they can rinse their palate and they can really get the true flavors of each of the wines they're sampling that night. Now that you know how to build a wine flight, call a friend, have a wine tasting. Assign a bottle to them. It can be a different region, a different style, or a different varietal. If you're still unsure on how to select a wine, go to one of our ABC stores and talk to our wine consultants. And check out more videos.